it would help if I like got the book first. Maybe that would be a good thing to do. Alrighty. Do you hear that? That slapping sound of the book? That is a good sound. So, quick story before we get into the book. I originally planned on going for a jog before this, and then I immediately, while I was thinking that, I immediately sat down and I ate like 6 cookies. And now, I don't want to do that anymore. So we're going to shoot this video right now, and then maybe you'll see after. So that explains this. Okay, hello. I'm Caitlin. If you're new to the blog, new to the read-along, new to my face, if you haven't seen the Chamber of Secrets video that we did earlier, this is what my face looks like. I'm Caitlin, hello. We're going to be talking about Order of the Phoenix today. The 5th book in the series. This is very cool. I understand that this is like a week and a half, 2 weeks late, and you guys are already, what are you guys, like on chapter like 6 something? I'm not caught up. I just got back from Arizona, so I'm like running through things. Summer, I'm like all over the place, crazy, but I'm here and I'm doing this. So yeah, so this is the 5th book in the series of the read-along. We just did Goblet of Fire. Now we're doing Order of the Phoenix. And I love this book. For a number of reasons. My phone's going off, sorry, I'm gonna silence it for a second. I love it for a number of reasons. I think that it's where we start to see, I think, Harry's story kind of starts getting darker. And I know that we've been saying that for the past couple books now. You know, we had Chamber of Secrets where it was like foreshadowing into the darkness. We had Prisoner of Azkaban where, you know, we're dealing with Azkaban and Dementors. Yeah, Dementors. What is that for a second? Dementors for the first time, and we see James, you know, being talked about, and so Harry's kind of dealing with death a little bit, and that's a little crazy. And then we have Goblet of Fire, obviously, where it starts getting kind of like, whoa, like Voldemort's back, and whoa, like this is a serious thing, and people are really trying to kill you, and this is like not good, you know. That's where we start to see it kind of darken. But really, at the end of Goblet of Fire, where Voldemort comes back, Cedric dies, Harry is dealing with all this, you know, loss and grief. That's really, I think, where we start to see his story kind of start to open up and get darker and more serious and more gut-wrenching, and it's hard kind of to read some of the scenes, because really in the first couple books we see lighthearted and adventure and magic, and he's learning the way around the wizarding world, and he's just kind of figuring out who he is as a person, and really, especially in Order of the Phoenix, he starts seeing the darkness of the world, and he starts on his journey of wanting to change that, and I think that it's really, really cool. This is where the DA starts, the Dumbledore's army, I was going to say Dumbledore's Academy, Dumbledore's army, where he starts teaching, as you guys are going to read, he starts teaching, and should I like not have said that? I don't even know. He starts teaching. This is where we meet a lot of really cool characters. This is where we meet Luna, who is my absolute favorite character in the whole entire series. I think she's just the best. She's peachy. This is where Harry starts kind of coming to terms with who he is. He has he meets Cho, and that's like a whole thing. But he really starts coming into his own, and I think that that's really lovely. But it starts in a really dark place, which sets up the book pretty nicely, because the whole thing is kind of just all over the place dark, and the world seems to be against him, because nobody really believes that, you know, what he's saying is true, about Voldemort being back. Everyone's kind of whispering behind his back, and the book sucks, and the book's great, but his life is kind of just like, you know, he's dealing with a lot of things. He's just trying to focus on himself and his friends and his studying, but the world is really out to get him, and he realizes that. If not before here, he definitely realizes that here. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit of the opening, and then I'm going to go to the questions that we have posted on the blog, If you want to go check those out, if you're not already following those, they're pretty cool, and you can follow along and answer them in your head, or take them and think about them, digest them, and see what you think. They're really cool. And if you have any answers, please send them to us. That'd be really cool. We'd love to interact with you. So yeah, Order of the Phoenix. Here we go. Oh, I should have had the opening first. Here we go. Okay. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Chapter 1, Deadly Demented. The hottest day of the summer so far was drawing to a close, and a drowsy silence lay over the large, square houses of Privet Drive. Cars that were usually gleaming stood dusty in their drives, and lawns that were once emerald green lay parched and yellowing. The use of hose pipes had been banned due to a drought. Deprived of their usual car washing and lawn mowing pursuits, the inhabitants of Privet Drive had retreated into the shade of their cool houses, windows thrown wide in the hope of tempting in non-existent breeze. The only person left outside was a teenage boy who was lying flat on his back in a flower bed outside number 4. He was a skinny, black-haired, bespectacled boy who had the pinched, slightly unhealthy look of someone who has grown a lot in a short space of time. His jeans were torn and dirty, his t-shirt baggy and faded, and the soles of his trainers were peeling away from the uppers. Harry Potter's appearance did not endear him to the neighbors, who were the sort of people who thought scruffiness ought to be punishable by law. But as he had hidden himself behind a large hydrangea bush, this evening he was quite invisible to passersby. In fact, the only way he would be spotted was if Uncle Vernon or Aunt Petunia stuck their heads out of the living room window and looked straight down into the flower bed below. On the whole, Harry thought he was to be congratulated on his idea of hiding here. He was not, perhaps, very comfortable lying on the hot, hard earth, but on the other hand, nobody was glaring at him, grinding their teeth so loudly that he could not hear the news, or shooting nasty questions at him as it happened every time he had tried sitting down in the living room and watching television with his aunt and uncle. Almost as though this thought had fluttered through the open window, Vernon Dursley, Harry's uncle, suddenly spoke. "Glad to see the boy stopping trying to butt in. Where is he, anyway?" "I don't know," said Aunt Petunia unconcernedly. "Not in the house." Uncle Vernon grunted. "Watching the news," he said scathingly. "I'd like to know what he's really up to. As if a normal boy cares what's on the news. Dudley hasn't got a clue what's going on. Doubt he knows who the Prime Minister is. Anyway, it's not as if there'd be anything about his lot on our news." "Vernon, shh," said Aunt Petunia. "The window's open." "Oh, yes, sorry, dear." The Dursleys fell silent. Harry listened to a jingle about fruit and bran breakfast cereal while he watched Mrs. Figg, a batty cat-loving old lady from nearby Wisteria Walk, amble slowly past. She was frowning and muttering to herself. Harry was very pleased that he was concealed behind the bush. Mrs. Figg had recently taken to asking him around for tea whenever she met him in the street. She had rounded the corner and vanished from view before Uncle Vernon's voice floated out of the window again. And then it keeps going. Obviously, there's a lot more in the book left. So that's the beginning, and I'm going to stop right there. For reason, I can't keep reading the book very long because we don't own the book, and I feel like this is going to get flagged down or something. But also because you guys, if you are in the read-along, have already read much further than that, so you don't really need me to read it to you. So if you guys are reading this, there's a Dementor's hack, and Harry uses magic, which is obviously not allowed in the Muggle world. He uses it in front of Muggles, and he is put on trial at a hearing because he used magic. And that kind of sets up the rest of the book. It sets up Umbridge, who you meet at the trial, who stays on and becomes the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, which is the reason for all the kind of chaos that happens at the school. And this book is just, I think, not only just for Harry, but I feel like for most of the characters, if not all the characters, it's a book of really starting to grow. They're really starting to kind of figure out who they are. You see, there's a really cool scene with the twins later where they kind of really start to understand who they are, who they're meant to be, who they want to be, and they kind of just become that, and I think that's beautiful. We meet Luna, as I said before. We meet Luna. If you guys I think that's chapter 8, maybe, I don't know. Chapter 8, I think, is where we meet Luna. So it's not for a while. I don't know if you guys are there yet, but she's absolutely beautiful and wonderful, and we see her as this crazy baddie girl immediately. Everybody's kind of just like, oh, I don't really want to be with her or sit next to her. But as the book goes on, we see her progress in her character, and she's very central to the plot of the book and the plot of the series as the series goes on. She's a wonderful character, and they all grow to love her, especially because she is unique. And I think that this book really just embraces uniqueness and being who you want to be, who you need to be, and not letting anybody tell you what to do or who to be or where to go or how to live your life. And I think that that's great. So yeah, I'm going to go to a question or two, and then I guess I'll end the video there, because it's kind of getting long anyway. So, so one question. Oh, Tonks. Oh, so there's the whole scene, there's like a bunch of questions about the rescue attempt that kind of happens with the Order of the Phoenix. We've got Tonks and Moody's, where you meet the actual Mad-Eye Moody and not the Mad-Eye Moody from Goblet of Fire, Barty Crouch Jr. Barty Crouch Jr. But well, that's really cool, and we get to see kind of Harry's like shock, like, oh my gosh, like this is the real Moody, and he's like exactly as everybody said he was, which is like a little bit crazy, but also very heartwarming. We get to see Tonks, who's absolutely fantastic. She's wonderful. We get to see Lupin a little bit in this one as well. So if you guys are just like, oh, we miss Lupin from, you know, Prisoner of Azkaban, he's so great. He comes back, you know, he's still here. We see Sirius a little bit, which is really, really great. And we see the Order, and so we get to see Grimmauld Place and that whole thing. I'm not even answering questions, I'm keeping talking. Is that okay? Do I need to answer questions? I don't really think I do. I think I read. You guys are answering your own questions. How about we do that? Yeah. How about we just... So my camera died. Yeah, it seems like the video gave up before I even had a chance to, so that's cool. But what I was going to say is, why don't we just end here? So this is almost kind of perfect, you know. You guys, you have the questions lists. I've read what I need to read for today, and it's not really about my answers or my thoughts on everything. It's more about what you guys think, what your feedback is. So if you have any questions as a reader and a follower of the blog, if you have any questions or comments or things you want to bring up, any little things that you have pointed out, any answers to the questions, if you have anything you want to contribute or ask about or share or anything like that, let us know. Come talk to us. HogwartsHouseHabits.tumblr.com. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a fantastic read along. And we will see you guys next week for week 3. Yeah, alright. See ya.